I'm taking a nice little walk down my driveway. Don't you just love my place? Just all this space. And yeah, it's so, I just found a nice little peaceful spot. I hope there's no snakes. I'm scared of snakes. I'm not scared of like pythons. Like if you go to the zoo, I love to hold them. I'm not scared. I used to have a pet snake, but I'm scared of like bad snakes like coming out at me from the bush. So anyway, in this video, I'm just going to talk a bit about my plant-based eating. Like I know I talked a little bit about this in one of my previous videos when I was showing you guys how I make a weekend meal, but I just felt inspired to talk a little more about teaching, like how I teach my kids about health, because I know that it's important to a lot of people, like a lot of parents, and it's becoming more important to me. But for those of you that don't know, like I'm an unschooling mum, so my kids, they didn't go to school like most other children, so they haven't really been raised in the like with the usual like parenting and schooling methods of like teaching, being sat down and told like taught like what they know. So everything that they have learned is basically like they've done that themselves. Like they've researched their own topics on the internet. They've come to their dad and me and asked questions, and we've explained like to the best of our knowledge. So like this is what I mean by like, if I discover new things, like yeah, I've made mistakes like all of us parents, and I've tried to preach things to my kids, and I've learned very quickly that they do not like this. I love to get psychic readings, and when I tell them about it, like they're not really into that sort of thing. They say, I don't believe in psychics. I don't believe in angels and guides. And that's okay. So that's their way of telling me like, don't push your beliefs onto me, mum. And I really love that about my kids. Like it's okay if they don't believe in that sort of thing. Like they have to discover what they believe in on their own. So I don't tell them that guides and angels are real and psychics are real. I just share my experiences, and if they seem interested, I tell them. But if they don't, I'm learning to try not to force it onto them. Oh my goodness, I hope ants don't bite me. Ants. So like it's the same with like becoming a plant-based eater. As I said, I'm not going to remove all the foods in my cupboard that my kids like. Like they do like bags of chips. They do like popcorn that is like microwave popcorn that's butter flavored. They don't like the plain kind. Although like sometimes they will eat the air fried popcorn. But I'm not just about to go out and buy just plant-based foods and say, okay, after 15 years of eating one way, you now have to convert to veganism and eat the way I eat. Like that would go against everything that I am as a parent and have been on this unschooling journey that we've been on for like 13 years. So I can't, so my methods of teaching really is about being it and demonstrating it. So like, I'll give a little example. My almost 15-year-old, he's very comical, and he likes to be on the internet. Like he doesn't use social media like to post about himself and that, but he does learn a lot through other influences, and he gets ideas, and I allow my kids to research in their own way. I don't tell them what content they can and can't watch. I don't tell them to stay off of like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and stuff, because that's just, I don't feel like over the years I've never seen any like evidence to say that they can't discern between like good and bad content, or that like they're not capable of like continuing to be themselves and not be heavily influenced. And sometimes they are influenced, and that's all part of like trying on new identities as growing up, and children, like it's all part of developing a sense of self. And I feel like the most important thing with that sort of thing is that if the parents are being themselves at all times, and the parents are continuing to demonstrate what it's like to be healthy and happy and to do the right thing, then that's kind of like the safety net that children need while they're doing their own scrolling and their own researching and stuff. And they can always ask questions, and they do. And I know that things that don't feel true to them, they don't take that on. And some things feel true for them that don't actually like feel true for me. And that's okay. Like I'm learning that me and my kids and my husband, like we're all our own like unique people, and we're not going to like be passionate about the same things. So I am very passionate about eating plant-based now after all these years. And so what I was trying to get to before was that like one of my children is like quite comical and likes to tease a lot, like jokingly tease about some of the stuff that's going around on the internet. And this is actually a really good like indication that he has good discernment, because things that are just silly and things that are not in the highest good, like he knows, and he kind of like jokes and like teases a little bit about it. So he used to watch this vegan influencer called, what is it, like the Vegan Teacher or something like that. And this person was like, I never watched it, but I took his word for it. This person was trying to push veganism onto people and making people that people that were eating meat like bad. And he used to like joke. And so when I first started eating this way, like vegan, he automatically was like joking and asking me questions like, are you gonna like make us all go vegan now? Like, are you gonna like, when you talk about it on your YouTube channel, you're gonna like make like other people, you know? And it's like, I understood like that's what he was used to seeing like out there, like a lot of influencers, like plant-based eaters trying to push an agenda like onto other people. And so I just like wanted to share how he has come to see over the months that there's actually no threat with me becoming a plant-based eater. There's no threat because I haven't changed anything about the way he eats. Yes, I talk all the time about what I love to eat. I'm constantly making all the foods in front of him and my other children, and I'm saying, here, try this. And sometimes they will. Like, they'll try my weird, like, vegan sauces that just have, like, cashews and nutritional yeast and a bunch of spices. And sometimes, like, they will actually have that, like, with their baked potatoes. And sometimes I'll go, ugh, yuck, that's gross, and we'll have a little laugh about it. But I'm always just doing what I do in front of them. I'm always just cooking the foods in front of them, and I'm just always expressing like, oh my God, this tastes so good, you got to try this. And they'll either say yuck or they will. So like so in the beginning, when my son was like a little bit skeptical about me sharing about veganism and like plant-based eating, like he was like expecting me to sort of like be like other people and try and like force it like onto people. But he has come to see, and not through me like explaining myself, but just showing that like everyone's allowed like their own food choices, but it's also okay to share what I'm passionate about and to like educate where necessary. So it's okay for me to say eating a lot of junk food is not healthy, but I don't stop them from doing it. Yes, I have like cut down quite a bit. Sorry, my arm is getting sore. We have cut down a lot on our eating like takeaways because I don't eat it as much. And when I do, it's like I eat like Subway or like a veggie pizza from Domino's. But I don't just say yes all the time. And the kids are starting, like sometimes like I'm not the perfect parent by far. Like I make a lot of mistakes. I get angry at my kids. I stress out. And sometimes like when they even ask for junk food, I can get really triggered and upset and say, like, you can't just eat bad food all the time. You're going to get fat and unhealthy. Like, I do sometimes accidentally project my fears onto my kids. And I do still have fears about them being unhealthy and overweight. But I have to try not to push those projections onto them and change things. Like if I want to make changes and I want to encourage them to be healthy, I want that to be a positive thing. I want that to be like something that's encouraging and not negatively based, like negative thought based. So I'm still learning to like change my thoughts from like negative to positive, and that's like a lifetime journey. And even though I've made a lot of progress, now I've got these new challenges to face. So I'm now plant-based eating, and my children are not like eating mostly plants. They're still like craving junk food, and they're still like eating meat and dairy, and that's okay. So like this has brought new challenges of like, it's made me like question again, what do I teach? How do I teach? What do I need to do? And it's just reminding me to come back to the same principles of parenting that I've been following, that have been working for me, and is to just let them, like, trust that they will know what's right, and to just keep being the example of being happy and healthy in my own body. And so when I woke up this morning and I told like my son, who was like, used to tease me about being vegan and sharing content, I said to him, like, I had some like negative comments on my YouTube, and he said like, what? And I said like, people kind of like not agreeing with this way of eating, and like assuming that I'm like unhealthy. And he was so supportive of me, and he was just like, don't listen to them, you're not like that. And it just said to me that, oh my God, like what I'm doing is working. Like he's obviously has a positive like view and perspective of me. He can see that I'm not, and he used the example of like other influencers like pushing veganism onto people, and for him to say like that I'm not like that, it just goes to show that he's seeing that I'm not, he trusts me, and he can see that I'm not like that I am my own person, and that I am doing it for me and my own health. I'm not doing it to prove anything. I'm not doing it to like, because I actually believe that it's what everybody needs, including my kids, because it's not. It has opened my eyes and my awareness about what's healthy and like what's not as healthy. But I do think that it's up to other people to discover that on their own. But being a parent and having kids, I do have some level of responsibility to look after my kids and ensure that they're healthy. But this doesn't have to be done in a traditional way where I like just lecture them all the time. And as I said, sometimes I do, and it doesn't feel good. It leaves me in tears, and it leaves me feeling like a bad parent. And that just says to me that that's not who I want to be. Like that's not how I want to teach my kids and raise my kids. So yeah, it really does work. Just being the example and sharing your highest joy and your highest excitement and what is working for you. My kids see me eat healthy. They see me exercise. They see me doing things to take good care of myself. And to be honest, it's really not as bad as I thought. When I think about what my kids eat, they do eat a lot of fruit. They eat a lot of potatoes. They do eat rice. They eat like meat and dairy in small amounts. They do have like takeaway junk food in small amounts. So really, it's not as bad as what my thoughts like tell me. It could be worse. And my only hope is that they, that they start to see that like foods can taste really good and be good for you at the same time. And that's what's like been happening. So yeah, it's just a little lesson to like not be so worried about what my kids are doing, and just to constantly focus on myself and be the example, show my kids what it's like to be in good health, to be happy, just do things because I love to do it, not because I think like that's how I should, and just hope that they can learn from my example and make the best choices that they can, accepting that sometimes they're not going to make good choices, and that's their journey, and for me to just love them anyway. Okay, have a great day. Bye.